think of health when you are in a health and not when you are sick. We always tell our patients that prehabilitation, that is, prevention is better than cure always. A wonderful shloka says, Pathe sati gadartasyam kim aushade nishevanehi, Pathe asati gadartasyam kim aushade nishevanehi. If we follow a proper diet, there is no need of a medicine. And that's what we are going to learn from Sir today. Excessive use of antibiotics and painkillers is dangerous, which leads to the development of resistance to the bacterial infections, and the number is really huge. In the era of quinoa and oats and chia seeds, we have forgotten that our wonderful life begins in the mother's womb, and the food journey starts with the breast milk, followed by first food of our life is always either ragi or rajgira. We all agree with that. And throughout the life journey, somehow we have so many mismanagements in a busy schedule that we forget our roots. But towards the end of the life, again, when medically we tell the patients, elderly patients, that you have gluten sensitivity, you cannot tolerate milk, and then again they go back to the roots, what we say as lal tandalachi pez, nachnichi bakri, jwariche dapate kind of thing, which are the forgotten millets. Now we are very lucky that we have Sir with us today. So let's hear from the millet man and reveal the mystery behind the health benefits of our traditional millets. I was just speaking to one of his volunteers, he said that it is called as Devadhanya. So Devadhanya is something what we call as millets. They definitely connect us to the physical health, but word itself denotes that it has spirituality. So we can actually get connected with this food in a spiritual way.
Good evening, everyone, and I'm so happy and privileged to speak to a group of practitioners of medicine, and it's a pleasure, especially ISKCON group of people I have high regard. Philosophically, the word Krishna is the ultimate reality, from which everything emanates and into which everything gets into. So, and that being the reality, what we all do is an illusion. So we try to reach the reality through these illusionary moments of our existence. It's a privilege to stand in this kind of audience and great guru, and it's incredible feeling for me as a person. That apart, my journey, I am a doctorate PhD in steroid metabolism. Worked with various biological systems, microbes, mammals, and plant. Did my PhD in University of Science, Bangalore, and from there I went to America in Portland, Oregon, where I worked on a lot of toxic chemicals, including dioxin. I'm the first person who have decoded the pathway of degradation, and in fact we have the US military running a project even now to degrade TNT and all biological processes without having to burn or create more pollution. And I've done lot more military projects and lot of that kind of stuff. And on top of it, I did work in genetic engineering field and worked in DuPont. You all know about DuPont, an MNC. I was in CR&D. I worked in pharmaceutical field as well as in agricultural field and drug discovery and that kind of bringing it to this, all this what do I call, the business end of the medicine. So the practicing allopathic established system, I am in and out there. In fact, we had to figure out the small amounts of cholesterol, one of the pesticides detective systems. So we developed this strip. Wherever you go, you can even just go and hold the strip in the air and see if that pesticide is available or not there, and then you can put it in the soil. And so we developed that kind of assay systems. In fact, your glucose strip, the checking is the fallout of that kind of research that we did in DuPont, and so with Merck, that connection. All these kinds of things I did, and also worked in some of this. You might not understand this. Parahydroxybenzoic acid is the liquid crystal that you all have in your system. So we developed a very non-polluting way of biological systems with toluene too. So while doing that, we did a lot of genetic manipulations of some microbial systems. So I worked a lot of these issues, and also dealt with lignin biosynthesis and degradation systems, and we figured out the biological process of how lignin gets synthesized and how it gets degraded in nature, and we extracted the enzymes and genes and tried to manipulate, and so all that kind of things I have done for 12, 15 years. And while doing that, I was also in the pesticide side of the agricultural field, and so I had the bad luck of spraying tons of fertilizers and pesticides just for experiment sake. I was in experimental station, DuPont CR&D Wilmington, so we did a lot of this work in large-scale agricultural fields with various fungicides and all kinds of systems. So that's my so-called scientific background. But then when first I went to America in 1986 or 87, the first thing I observed was a small baby, a 6-year-old baby menstruating, which shocked the hell out of my life. I mean, how on earth a 6-year-old girl can menstruate? And so I was very curious. I just asked an MD doctor who was, first day I had to go and get a medical certificate to join. So this was my experience. And then in typical American style, he said, just mind your business. That was his. So I was very, very upset because I just finished my PhD, and you think you're going to America, and a lot of great science and this and that. That was the mental makeup. And you go there and you ask a simple question, why a 6-year-old girl is menstruating, and I found that it's not just one girl. Almost all the girls, many girls in America were menstruating by then itself at the age of 9 or 10. So from where I went, I mean, India, the thing got stuck in my mind is all my batchmates and all, they were menstruating at the age of 14 or 15. And so I said, what is this? And I started asking people, and then I got back the answer saying that, oh, no, here kids are menstruating at the age of 9. So it didn't fit into my perception. I said, why is it going on? Why? I mean, we are all human beings, and there should not be any difference. And then all at a sudden, because I did PhD on steroids, so androstenedione, testosterone, all these kinds of estrogen, progesterone. I did a lot of microbial studies on all these compounds. So I knew there is something wrong with the hormonal balance. So in no time I figured out that they are feeding their babies the milk that is produced from oxytocin and estrogen injections, and it didn't take me long to connect, and it is the milk that is the culprit. So within 3 weeks, it just fell into place. I said, oh God, milk is a wonderful, unstable product that is a complete food for a mammalian baby, whether it is human milk or cow's milk or goat's milk or tiger milk, whatever it is. But it's a small place, don't worry. Everyone can hear, I'm sure. Yeah, yeah. So the moment I defined milk, that means it has to be delivered from the nipple of the breast of the mother to the mouth of the baby. So there should not be any in-between business. So we have done business with the milk. So once I defined the milk that way, then the mistakes of the human race just flashed in front of my eyes. And so what made this happen is just the business, end of the deal. So in the name of biotechnology, and whose milk are you feeding the babies? You are feeding the milk of some cow. And then to increase the amount of milk, that's because the ladies in America didn't want to feed their babies because they were busy for whatever, career and all that. So within a week or two, they want to put the babies in nurseries or whatever, give the bottle, and then this social makeup, the societal pressures made them go away from natural. A lactating mother should be feeding the babies. That's the general natural process where you have a complete system. So you are breaking there, and then imagine from that time itself, the breast nodules started appearing in Americans more and more and more. The babies started menstruating at the age of 9, 8 because they started being fed with this hormone-rid milk. So it was very clear for me in the first 3 weeks itself, this is completely disconnecting from nature. So, but then by then itself they have made people believe that milk is complete food. And we started teaching in the books that milk is complete food. What about the real milk story in other parts of the world? No one actually was getting milk, because in India also people used to feed the calf first, then whatever little was left, and they were not even milking, it used to pour out itself. And that milk they were actually, because it goes bad within no time, so it used to turn itself into curds, and then the people figured out that you can make curds out of the left out milk. And how much curds you get? Not even quarter liter or so from cow. But then the biotechnology turned it into a machine of milk making. The cow now goes on giving milk for months together because of this biotechnological advances, and we call in quotes advances. But we didn't recognize that we are going away from nature. So the imbalance created by this milk production and consumption has changed the nature of people themselves. And it clicked into the system, and people started becoming obese. The obesity problem started there. So people, in the name of consuming milk, because these guys work on very high plane to popularize whatever they discover, whatever you call that. It is to the end of business they do all these things. It's not for anything else. So they were very quick in popularizing these techniques and technologies, transported into all over the world, and started making business out of it. And so in no time, within 5 to 10 years, the whole world started drinking this milk. And lo and behold, now in India, I get cases, 4-year-old girl started menstruating. That is the sad story of last 40, 50 years. So once I recognized this problem, that it is the food gone wrong created all these problems, and it is obvious in the women But in the men, what happened in the last 40, 50 years, they started losing the sperm because of the hormone imbalance. Now the sperm count has come down to 20, 30 millions, to the extent now allopathic establishment says even 20 million is okay, normal range. But actually the real normal range of the sperm count should be somewhere between 70 million to 70 to 150 million. That should have been the range. If you go back, say 30 years and see the range, you will see that as the normal range. But now, even if a male comes and 20 million, there is okay. Because they cannot do anything about it, because we have changed our systems. It's considered normal, 20 million, okay. So these kinds of skewing the nature to suit the business needs has been the norm of the establishment for the last 30 years, more so in the pharmaceutical industry. So we have noticed that, because I worked in the department of pharmacy and developing drugs, and so it hit me that what about the food that we are eating? How is it produced? And why are we having so many problems? So back then in 1990s, before 1990, it hit me that the whole world is being taken for a ride by these food companies, food production companies, that they started changing our food all over the world. And now you see, all the world eats only 4 or 5 materials. That is rice, wheat, milk, sugar, and meat. And to produce these 5 items, the nature is completely ruined. As we speak, the Brazil has burnt half their Amazon forest, the rainforest, to produce meat. They are making to grow the soybean and the corn, genetically modified, so that they can make the animal feed all over and they make the meat. The meat is produced in a matter of 3 months, the pig meat, and 6 months the cow's meat, and 2 months the chicken, and all depending upon steroids and antibiotics. So the whole world started eating now eggs. People are eating eggs on the roads. I mean, it's like jillions of eggs are produced. But if you actually see in nature, a chicken takes so much time to produce 21 eggs. But now, in 21 days, each chicken can produce 200, 300 eggs. I mean, this is the kind of technologies we have developed. And we think that eggs are food for us, and that milk is food for our babies. This rice is produced in unnatural forms in lot of quantities in the name of green revolution to feed people. So we are carrying all this residue. These are called residues. Actually, in agriculture research, it's called residues. The residues are accumulating in the body, bioconcentrating themselves, and then reaching high proportions, alarming proportions, into such an extent that we find these residues in the blood samples of penguins, which are way down in the South Pole. And in 1950, the amount of pesticides and fertilizers used was 5,000 tons. That's it. But now we don't even have inventory how much pesticides and insecticides and fertilizers we are using on this planet. We have contaminated all the water bodies in the world. Absolutely. Everything is contaminated. So we have lost hold of pure water also doesn't exist. And you have to go to maybe South Pole and North Pole and dig deep, and then you can find some sample without these pesticide residues or toxic materials. And this is the story of food production. And so, for me it is very simple that because we are eating not the right food, because it's not at all food, it is not found in nature actually. The sugar cane is actually a plant which is found very rare in jungles. But then we have taken as a choice, this British people's confectionery addiction got sugar cane selectively Now zillions of acres of land is used to grow sugarcane now. We are producing liquor as well as sugar from that, and sugar is part of everyone's, people are consuming in tons and tons and tons. India alone produces 48 lakh tons of sugar. And sugar is the penultimate product of our digestive process. That means we are the last step. It gives you glucose into your blood. The ultimate objective of digestion is to release glucose into the blood, to be absorbed by the small intestine and released into and that release of glucose is gone haywire in the last 30-40 years. The moment we started eating rice and wheat, there is no control, absolutely no control. So the increased amounts of glucose in the blood kickstarts all emergency activities, glycogen synthesis, cholesterol, triglycerides, accumulation of fats, and so people have become obese, and we call it another disease. And then the amount of glucose is so much, the blood hemoglobin itself takes it on. So when the HbA1c increases, and we call you diabetic. So this is how we are producing. So it is the sugar, it is the rice, it is the wheat that we are consuming is directly responsible for. So the simple answer should be, don't eat rice, don't eat wheat, don't eat sugar. Should have been the simple answer from the established medical world. But the doctors refuse to say these things. In simple terms, eat whatever you want, take these tablets. And this is the condition we have reached right now. The simple analysis that the food is right, then there is no need for medicine. And if your food is not right, how many number of medicines you can develop and take, nothing is going to happen to you. And that's what is happening right now all over the world. We are all in the illusion that we are healing people and all that. You are just managing from one disease to the other disease to the other, or compounding the diseased condition of the body. So you are all not at all really looking into health parameters, rather you are trying to, you actually caught yourself into the spin tile of this vicious circle of going from one disease to the other, or adding one disease to the other. So this is the way I look at the whole system right now as what is happening. So what is the way out? Way out is to get back to natural foods which can release the glucose in a slow and steady fashion. That means the regulation of glucose is designed to be with the food. And that's where it should be. It goes into our mouth, should have the control. So the glucose should not be flooding the blood. Even if it is gone, there should be regulation even in the blood. So there is something called fiber, soluble fiber, insoluble fiber. So once you provide that regulators of glucose, then the body is at ease. Because there is no flooding of glucose, the 5 grams per the body, 5 liters of the blood is maintained, the balance is there, then every other physiological activity goes on smoothly. The moment the glucose increases, then you have different kinds of metabolic activities switched on, emergency conditions declared, and the natural processes are all put on hold. And this is what we are doing to all the people in the world by giving the food that we are eating right now. So unless you change this, you cannot be healthy. Very clear for me. So we took some gangrene patients, we took some heart block patients, we took some high hypertension patients, we took HbA1c 12%. We started feeding the food that can regulate the entry of glucose. And those are the 5 grains we have come up with: kodo millet, foxtail millet, barnyard millet, brown top millet, little millet. These 5 millets, they are also called, American millet is brown top millet, African millet is little millet, Italian millet is foxtail millet, Japanese millet is barnyard millet, Himalayan millet is kodo millet. What it means is the distribution. It is all over the world, you can find this. And just do small bit of research, you find historically everywhere people were eating this food. And we didn't find diabetic patients way back in 150 years ago in India, very rarely, 1 in a crore or something. So it hit me that we get back to this as food, then we can cure obese people, don't mistake me, we can cure hypertension, we can cure diabetes, we can cure gangrenous conditions, we can cure almost anything, because it is this central point of regulation of glucose we have screwed up in the last 30-40 years in our food, because anywhere you go, sugar is coated. Even if you want to eat little khara, namkeen, there is 30 grams of glucose, and then they increase the khara part. So every food item in the world is contaminated with sugar, which is the last thing you want to put it in your mouth, because that is the penultimate product of our digestive process. Biochemically, if you have the product of a biochemical reaction in the front end, the whole system is screwed up. I mean, this is simple kinetic mechanism. So we are doing mistake this way and that way. So with this simple logic, we started feeding these kinds of patients with these 5 grains. Lo and behold, sir, all things started happening. The gangrenous condition disappeared in 3 weeks. HbA1cs started coming down to 8, 6, 5 in a matter of 6 months. Heart blocks started disappearing. All these good things started happening. And that's when I started realizing that it is the food that is the imparting health parameters in the body, nothing else. So I keep telling, if your food is right, no medicine is required. And if your food is wrong, no medicine works. Whatever medicine you call, homeopathy, allopathy, naturopathy, tatopathy, and if nothing works, you go to Tirupati, you will become Draupadi, nothing else. This is the simple, straightforward solution we have. So, easy. Just say no to this industrial food. I call this industrial food because it is produced in large scale all over the world, which is not supposed to be. We are not supposed to be touching these things because they are not available in nature. We have selected them, and then on an industrial scale we have started producing with all these so-called advanced techniques, be it in the agriculture field or in the biotechnology field. And we started eating meat, which is not the food at all for the human race, the human gut. And while doing this, we have screwed up all the basics of our existence. We actually are not what we are. We actually are the microbiome that infests. The infest is a wrong word. Harboring. We harbor the lot of microbial populations in our gut, and that is where actually your immunity starts. But we have been systematically eliminating this wonderful microbiome from our bodies in the last 30-40 years, because it has become mainstay of the medicinal system to first give antibiotics. That's a very, very, very sad thing that has happened in our medical system. So you keep killing the microbes that are supposed to be doing good for you. But then it takes so much time for people to develop the right microbiome, and we have eliminated all the methods of filling the microbiome. And what are these microbes? Where are they coming from? Where are these kinds of microbiological populations we can fill with our... So the original natural food materials that harbor these microbes have to go in. So the first and best example is our ganji. We call ganji porridge, fermented porridge of various grains, fills our tummy with wonderful microbial world. Um, this, because I had a lot of experience with microbial world, it was very easy for me to figure this out. So the moment the babies are born, what we are feeding is wrong food. The milk that is not supposed to be going into their bodies. Other than mother's milk, nothing should go into the baby's mouth till the age of 9 months. 9 months in the tummy, 9 months at the breast. These are all simple things figured out long ago in our culture. So our culture was not like this Vedas, everything is amalgamated, and Ayurveda, all these things are put together. We were leading a holistic life, not disturbing the nature and then trying to take part into the nature and then giving the sustainable model of growing food. All these things were already well within our system. But then slowly and steadily in the last 100 years, we have been breaking all these simple natural methods and procedures. So lot of people have problems with the gastric acidity, and then the doctors are suggesting keep eating every 2 hours, every 2 hours. I mean, no other work we have. Go on eating, 8 o'clock, 10 o'clock, 12 o'clock. Whatever is supposed to do. You have to see that once you eat, you don't need to eat. And that's what these food grains are. Once you eat kodo millet, idli, 4 or 5 in the morning, you will not need to give anything till the evening, because it keeps supplying the required glucose, and the ATP production is on a regulated fashion. You don't feel hungry, you don't feel tired, nothing, and you are up to do anything, any work with a lot of energy, because this is the regulated release of, you can call energy, the ATP production itself. And the lignans that are present in the fiber of these 5 grains is the ultimate cleaning system that you get into your body. Lignans are actually the PMF. The whole biochemical reactions work in electromotive force with driven by PMF, and that PMF is lignans. So the electron is tumbling down, and then you keep making ATP. Ultimately, the electron has to find itself nullified in the biological system. And that is where these so-called antioxidants and all these chemicals come, the vitamins and all this. And even after the vitamins do their job, the electronic charge left out has to find nullification. And that can come only with these wonderful chemicals called lignans. Lignans are actually precursors of lignins. You know what is lignin? The chair you are sitting. So now, if you sit in the chair, you give you electric shock, you will not be electrocuted. Because even that powerful current finds itself nullified there. Because the lignin is very complex polymer with aromatic electrons spreading itself. So it can take any amount of course, you cannot give huge amount of current, but that particular part, if you were to sit on an iron chair, even if the small shock would electrocute. And that's what the lignans do in your body. All kinds of toxic materials in the form of the electronic waste, that electric signals are to be found, cleaning system, and that's what these lignans provide. And there are a lot of it in each of these grains, and there are variations of lignans. There are solubles, insoluble. So the insoluble goes and just gets stuck to the rectum and the large intestinal area, where the cleaning goes on and on, and that's how your intestines, large intestines, are completely protected. All this irritable bowel syndrome, all these celiac diseases, all those things are eliminated in no time. You see, the whole cleaning of the body in the real sense happens by choosing the right food. Hence, all these benefits accrue to your systems. So for me it was very simple. So we are in a mess, spinning down and down, and we keep claiming that we are doing something. And with all due respect, if your heart problem is there, now the technology, I will print your heart in 3D and then put it back. And to that extent we are talking. But that's not the path we need to tread. We need to respect the body's natural systems and keep protecting it. And then if you can keep the safe and health of the system in the first place, you don't need all this unnecessary hangama. So this simple thought process led me to figure out the food. And so we insist that rice is not your food, wheat is not your food, milk is not your food, sugar is absolute poison according to me, to the human body. As soon as you eat, you don't die. It's a slow poison. And you are addicted to this sugar. So all these bad things, but we are not talking about it. And that is the wrong thing that the present medical world is doing. Whatever you eat, you can take this tablet. And that is the kind of situation we have come into. And on top of it, we have nutrition, we keep talking, it's all business oriented. Oh, vitamin B12 is less. And they claim that meat has vitamin B12 and the whole world is eating meat. Then how is it still we are having vitamin B12 deficiency? And then we say calcium comes from milk. And then we have been drinking liters and liters of milk. As if liters of milk is not enough, we are eating paneer nowadays, concentrate it and then eat. And what happened? We are still selling calcium tablets in billions of dollars. Apart from that, we still have calcium deficiency. That means we are going in the wrong direction. So calcium is not coming into our bodies at all. That's what it means. So simple sesame seed. In fact, if you go back and look into the history of any culture, whether it's Arabic world or Chinese or Americans or Indians, sesame seed has been lavishly used in almost all preparations, different kinds of preparations. Why were they using? Because it was maintaining the calcium. So we just tell all our patients once a week, eat small sesame seed laddu made with palm jaggery, because we cannot support this sugarcane jaggery because it is loaded with glucose, whereas palm jaggery is loaded with fructose. That is the difference. So fructose and glucose are isomers. Both are sweet, but glucose problem doesn't come when you eat palm jaggery. It takes a lot of time for fructose to get transformed to glucose. There are 28 steps if you have to convert fructose to glucose. So that wonderful regulation happens. So I don't tell people not to eat sweet, but eat the right sweet. That is palm jaggery. There are varieties of palm jaggeries, silver date palm jaggery, date jaggery, different palmaceae trees are there, and different locales, different plants. And all of them give you wonderful jaggery. So you go to Arabic world, they have dates. You go to south, in our Andhra, we have silver date palms. Eachlu gida anta, Eeta chettu. And that is, lot of it is there in Bengal even today. In fact, if you just switch to that, just Bengal alone can supply the jaggery to the whole world. That is the scene. So we have been driven by this industrial food culture to this sugarcane jaggery, which should not have been grown in the first place. In fact, that is 38% of our land, agricultural land, has been destroyed by sugarcane production all over the world. And the remaining is now being destroyed for meat production. And to produce 1 kilo meat, you need 50,000 liters of. I'm almost at the end of, I don't want to take more time. I'm just giving everything in gist. We will have a question and answer session. And that is more important. I just want to give a background so that we can interact and then have question and answers. Another 5 minutes, I'm coming to the end of my presentation, brief presentation. So I have given you the characteristics of Siridhanya food, how and in what way it can help, the theoretical part of it, and then we have done lot of practical application. We have fed hundreds and thousands of patients have been reporting, and I have been practicing so-called homeopathy. I use the word so-called because if the food is not right, no pati works. No pati works because they keep coming back. They keep coming back. So if the medicine works, the patient should not come back to you. That means a doctor's role is to eliminate his job from the patient's life. So if the patient comes to you, then he should be able to spend the rest of his life not going to a doctor. And that is what a doctor's role should be. And that's how I define a doctor to be. So if we can do that, so the logical extension of this argument is that if we are working for health of the people over a period of time, we should be closing down the hospitals. Am I right? But then what are we doing? Every 6 months we are opening multi-speciality hospitals in every street of every city. That means something is wrong here. Something is wrong here. So in fact, I tell sometimes if we stop drinking coffee, tea and milk and sugar, we can close down half the hospitals. Just doing this much. And then if we switch off rice and wheat and meat from our plates, we can close down the remaining hospitals completely. Of course, we need few hospitals for emergency care. I have no doubt about that. Certainly, I can confidently say, if we change our food from what we are eating now to the foods that are natural and local, I can without any doubt declare that we can close down the hospitals in next coming 5 years. Guaranteed. That much confident I am. I have so many patients recovering in such a wonderful way. It is not recovering, they are getting healthier and healthier and healthier. In fact, I have hundreds of families, the babies have not seen the doctor at all for the last 12 years. So, if we follow the right food practices, not even the cold, cough and all that, absolutely zero. In fact, the babies can go drench themselves in rain and come home, no problem. That we can build with the right food in your house, in your homes. So this kind of activities we have been trying to communicate to people so that you can eliminate the need of a doctor in your life. And that can happen only with the right food and a bit of lifestyle adjustment. And so among that, the most important thing is cleaning up of water that you are drinking because we have polluted. How to clean the water? In fact, when I come out, I put a small copper strip in my bottle. Because when I travel, I get only plastic water wherever I go. So I put it in this. I put it in this. 3 to 4 hours, this water is cleaned up. So in the house, we recommend this copper plate is good enough to clean 20 liters of water. So you put your water in a mud pot or steel vessel overnight. So just allowing it to settle down, lot of things by gravity, things and whatever pollutants that you have in water, because of d orbital electrons freely roaming around on the surface of the plate, starts doing the cleaning up of job, including viruses are cleaned up. So once in 15 hours or 24 hours, to take the plate and clean it with tamarind juice or lemon juice with little salt, the copper plate is ready to go for another 24 hours for this much surface area. So you have sustainable, non-polluting cleaning up of water for generations to come. So if you buy this plate, all the people in your family for generations to come to get good clean water, And we have also found even the nanoparticles of plastic materials get deposited on this over a period of time. So the water that we are getting through plastic pipes, Bisleri bottles, this and that also, and these nanoparticles are one of the important reasons why we have cancer, why we have lot of problems in our body. So unless you change the water, most of your problems remain with you. So the water you are drinking through these filters, all these plastic pipes, first should be eliminated from your homes. That is foremost important thing. And this part of it has been declared long ago in our texts. That, in fact, in Karnataka, if you come to Madikeri area, there are temples. Wherever you go in the corners, they have these copper plates on the pillars. And in fact, on the roof, they have copper plates, even today. And in fact, they have rooftop water harvesting system that comes. And so this, even if you touch copper for 5 minutes, the virus, bacteria that are there, you get cleaned up. In fact, that is the reason why many kids were being put these copper rings and to the legs and onto the, and also it does the electrical charge stabilization in your body. A lot of systems that are going wrong can be corrected. So these are the wonderful uses, and this is very well described in Ayurvedic texts, and you can go back and refer. So this is not a new thing. We are just talking, d orbitals, that bandwidth of the energy is right, and that's how you clean, and it makes the water structured. All this explanation is in terms of so-called science. But then this has been figured out long ago, and they were doing that. In fact, our sadhus, wherever they go, they had this kamandala. So they had this structured water all along. They always used to drink that. And so this is the story of water. So you please change your water, the way you drink water, the cooking for food also use this water only. But clean the plate on a regular basis. If you do not clean, then you are going to have all the things again back. So that being the case, and you don't drink milk, please. Milk is very dangerous. It has screwed up the health of people on this planet in a very bad way. We are all hormonally imbalanced because of milk and its dairy products. Of course, once you ferment the lactobacillus, as I told you, the microbiome, 63% of it is lactobacillus for human gut. The remaining 37% various other bacteria. So all that can be provided using the fermented porridge of these wonderful grains. So once a week or twice a week, please consume the food in form of fermented porridge. So how to make these foods, all that is being completely loaded into the Sirijivan org. The procedures, everything is clearly spelled out. So we have, along with all these adjustments, we also require to wake up in the morning when the sun rises. Please be awake. Don't go on sleeping. When there is night, you sleep. When there is light, you be awake. And that's what we are meant to do. So before sun comes out, you be awake and see that wonderful orange light. Your rods and cones click, and your whole biochemistry is different. So that's why we have what is called Surya Namaskara, and Surya Namaskara, the posture, when the sun is rising in the horizon, you better look at it. But then funnily, the yoga teachers are all teaching Surya Namaskara at 12 o'clock in the evening, or 5 o'clock. So this is another sad story. She's laughing. So Surya Namaskara is in that particular time when the sun is rising or when the sun is setting. That's when you do Surya Namaskara, and that's when everything happens. In fact, the whole body biochemistry, the physiological changes, you have to do only for 21 days to see the difference in your body. Just get up, don't worry about all that I have spoken, about food and all that. That's the next stage. Just get up and have morning 21 namaskaras in that 5-10 minutes. It's all that it takes. It doesn't stay for long, that orange wonderful kashaya color Surya coming out. So just that 4 or 5 minutes, all that it requires, and all your vitamin D, all those things happens in that moment, fine. So nowadays there is a big hullabulla about vitamin D deficiency, vitamin B12 deficiency. All those things completely will be eliminated in no time. But then how many people are getting up and seeing Suryodaya every day? And luckily in our country we can actually see the sunrise almost 300 days in a year. But are you seeing at least 30 days? Does any doctor recommend people to get up and see? And actually if you do, you will have no eye problems at all. Period. No discussion. Just this much is good enough. So whoever is complaining, I have this problem, I have this eye problem, please get up in the morning, 21 days see. And then if you follow these simple things, of course I have one more item to add, you walk for an hour and a half, because the glucose to burn and create that potential. If you walk early in the morning 1.5 hours, all the glucose present in the blood, 5 grams gets to ATP and you burn it. So once you have burnt, your blood wants the glucose to be filled in. So the potential is built, the engine starts. So there is no problem at all for the flow of the glucose, and you have regulating the glucose in terms of our Siridhanya food. Everything works out fine. Absolutely no disease condition in the body. So it's not just Siridhanya alone, but Siridhanya being the main character here, the food. But you need all these associated characters. When you want that drama to be complete, you need all these things. So the hero is Siridhanya, or heroine is Siridhanya. A hero is of course God. So all these things have to happen in your system, and everything will fall in place. And believe me, it doesn't take more than 6 months. We have had wonderful results with even myasthenia gravis, muscular dystrophy, multiple sclerosis. These are so-called rare progressive diseases where there is no cure. Of course there is no cure for anything. Diabetes lifelong, BP lifelong, thyroid lifelong. That's what you have to offer. You keep taking tablets lifelong. But then we are here to tell the world, you can get out of all this by just practicing simple, natural food materials and food practices. Thank you. This is all that I have to communicate to you people, and the floor is open for question and answers.
What is the meaning of Siri Dhanya?
Yeah. Dhanya is grain. Yeah. Siri in our language means wealth of the wealth. Opulence. So, what is opulence? It is only health that can be, money is not the real Siri. You can have all the money in the world, then if you don't have health, it's useless. So, the real wealth is only health. So, many people say, if you have, wealth is, but it is not true. You cannot equate wealth to health. If you have health, you have everything. You have everything. And if you have wealth alone, you have almost nothing if you don't have health. So that's how we termed this dhanya, because it gives you the health in terms of your body and existence. And eating these 5 grains. What about the other grains?
These 5 grains, names were really complicated. We didn't understand what are the names of 5 grains.
Yeah, we'll get back. This is called foxtail millet. Foxtail millet, because it's, when it forms the pinnacle.
What is the name? Is it an English name?
It's an English name called foxtail millet. In Hindi it is called kutki, kangni, kangni, kutki, jingara, all these 5 grains. And kodo millet is called kodo millet only. There is no English or Hindi word. It is the same. These are different languages. Sorry sir, actually we are from south, so we didn't think of north fellows to start with. But Marathi, yeah, yeah, Kodra, and some of the words are not available because people do not know. But you were using all these grains before.
So this is still work in progress. We are trying to figure out all the local names. Yeah.
And after figuring out local names, where it is available?
Yeah.
Yeah,
So
we'll come
we'll
to
cover
that.
that.
We'll come to that. We'll come to that. Yeah, and the point is that all these grains were disappearing. They were disappearing from this planet. Foxtail millet is also called Italian millet. That means Italy people were eating foxtail millet. Japanese millet, barnyard millet called udulu, that is jingara, na? Jingara. So these foods were available all over the world. But luckily, our villages, old farmers, website, everything is there. Well, let's talk about the importance and how we have lost the names also. See, the point is, you people in this hullabulla of modern urban living, we have forgotten all the traditional foods, and even the seeds have disappeared, because that's the intention of the industrial food culture, to eliminate all the good things so that they have everything in their hands. And this is 100% guaranteed. They don't want any local food cultures to exist anymore on this planet. But the health lies only in local and seasonal food materials for every human being. And in that context, we have something more. Oils. Oils are also important, because when the baby is growing, you need the fat. Your brain, your kidney, your spleen, all these are made of fat material. So you have to provide the right fat, the clean, wonderful fat material which makes your nervous system, your nephrons, all these materials, 60 to 70% of it is made of fat material. So if the fat itself is gone wrong, when the embryo is growing into a baby, if you are providing wrong materials, and the result of and the proof of it is, we have 28 kids being born as ADHD, attention deficit hyperactive disease, ADHD. Yeah. And we call differently abled, autistic kids and all that. And that percentage has been drastically increasing in the last 20 years. And it more so in the meat eating world, and then slowly it is spreading to all over the world. And yeah. I'm coming to. Yes. Yeah, many things people have not heard, because we have done a lot of research, dig back into the history, and then went into the villages. This I have done in the last, 1997 to 2005, because I was sure that the whole human race is trekking in the wrong path. So, to figure out what food is for human beings. What is food? The definition of food is, when you eat something, you should feel satiated and do not want to eat again and again, and give you health and energy to live the whole day. And that is the definition of food. And the physiological and metabolic definition is to regulate the glucose in wonderful balanced way and give you healthy condition. So you can define food in different dimensions and aspects of it. All that definitions should be met by our grain selection. And after that, we have figured out all these modern day diseases can be completely healed if we get back to that food systems. So step by step, we have done this and brought back all these grains. And in South India now, all these fry grains, all the farmers are given, and they are growing in large quantities, and Karnataka, Andhra, Telangana, Tamil Nadu. And slowly the word is spreading, and we include, it's not just that, and as I told you, I talked to you about the jaggery, the palm jaggery, which is the real sweet of the nature. And these are the oils, the dicotyledons, the protein. People are now talking about, you need to have a lot of protein. And these 5-packs, 6-packs, these cons showing up their bodies. And then all kids going to gyms, and then whey protein and this and that are loaded with steroids. And in fact, last week I had a boy, 20-year-old, going to the gym, started sleeping in the bed. He started finding his bed wet with milk. He is hormonal imbalance. The milk is oozing out in his body. This is the story of your so-called gym. Please don't go to gyms. Just go for long walks. You are healthier. Be careful. And this is fashion now in big cities. Gyms and doom like that, and 6-pack, 5-packs, and all movies talking about this 6-pack. Shah Rukh Khan flaunts of his body, and Amir Khan flaunts of his body, this fellow flaunts. So all are running to gyms. This is a vicious circle created by this, what do I call? I don't know what do I call. So all these things are going on, please be aware. So the system is not working in bits and pieces, it is working in tandem. Everything is connected. So please be aware of this. I may be speaking here and there, but all things are connected. And that's what we are all about now. So if you are aware of these facts, you will have the wherewithal to get out of it. So in the name of science, in the name of development, in the name of modernity, we are going away from nature. So please relax, slow down, don't be in a hurry. You need to get your oils, you have to work for it. So look for these oils, and we talk about Ghana oils. Natural way of producing oils is you have to have slow RPM. If you actually use machines, the standard temperature and pressure is not there in that particular place. You are already burning the oil even when they are being produced. So you can heat the oil, but not have the high pressure and then generate heat. So there is a different biochemical reactions going on in that place. So, but we have come away from this oil production. We are not even using this machine oils. We have gone to refined oils that is coming from your diesel industry. Whatever is left, that mineral oils, we are coloring and using some flavoring materials and calling it olive oil, calling it sunflower oil, sunpure oils. All this is gone out of whack. You people have to be aware of this. So the real oils, this is how it is produced, and in fact we are doing this. We have already established 185 Ghanas in South India, and we hope, and this was the case even in North. I mean, you people, I am sure you are aware of that wonderful oils. And these oils actually have helped us to reverse these so-called autistic kids who had no prajna. They can't say eye-to-eye contact. Even such kids have come back. They are able to see eye into eye and then have contact and are able to learn now using this Niger seed. The oils produced like this: sesame seed oil, coconut oil, groundnut oil, Niger seed oil. Especially Niger seed oil in our language is called huchellenne. Huchu means madness. In Telugu it is called Verinuvul Nune. Very means kind of not being all right. So these systems can be corrected using the right oil, because here the problem is there. So the nervous system is to be cleaned, and that can be done by fat materials only. So we suggest to drink 2 or 3 spoons of this oil early in the morning on empty stomach, and we have seen enormous amount of result for Parkinson's patients, Alzheimer patients, paralysis patients, and differently abled kids, and many thyroid patients have been completely healed by these procedures. So hundreds, not hundreds, thousands, not thousands. In fact, many people say it's even lakhs. Lakhs of people are using these food items in South and are finding their lives much better. So this is the thing that we have done so far, and all this information, and we would This is basically little millet, sama.
It's also popularly
In
known
fact,
as
that is the
variety.
annaprasa.
Tuesday
The
fasting
baby after
food.
9 months, the first thing you want to give is this little millet. And it so happens, it corrects all the hormonal imbalances. And you see, they have the brains to see, to set the right hormonal balance for the baby. The first food is sama. Then comes your raga and rajgir, all that actually. So dig back into the history, you will find all this information. I have not discovered these things. I only have brought them back and then trying to again introduce to the consciousness of the human race these wonderful grains. Created these so-called modern day diseases, and now I confidently can claim that this is the only way for health of the human race. No other method exists. And kodo actually is little pinkish in color. In fact, this is all the Himalayan belt. That side Tibet, China, Nepal, this side all the belt, Chhattisgarh, Jharkhand, Uttarakhand, all these people even today, many tribal people are eating kodo chawal, kodo. English name is also kodo. And then you have foxtail millet, this kanki, that when it forms the grains, this looks like foxtail. That's why it is called foxtail millet. And it is the food used in Italian Alps and all those areas. And this is greenish brown top millet. It looks like a top, the grain, and when you dehusk them it looks. And another important parameter of these grains, the ratio of carbohydrate to the fiber comes into single digits.
Is ragi one of the 5 millets?
Yeah, here is it is not one of the 5 millets. It is the next neutral millet. Bajra also falls into this. Juwari also falls into this. What it means is that if you have diabetes, if you have BP, if you have cancer, you cannot cure yourself with these neutral grains, because the ratio of the fiber to carbohydrate is in double digits, in large numbers. Whereas these 5 grains, you see, it is in single digits. Especially the brown top is the least, 5, and the highest is foxtail millet. All these 5 grains have single digit ratio of fiber to carbohydrate. Hence, they are positive grains because they can heal you of all these diseases. So, yeah, first 5. And that's why we have named them as Siridhanya and called positive grains. So, we have also got on the other side of the coin, we have various kinds of diseased conditions and various combinations of these food grains depending on what organs they work with. So, foxtail millet works with lungs and nerves. That vudulu, called barnyard millet, works for kidneys and all the materials that are fat related. So, little millet and barnyard millet work with all these endocrine gland systems. So, thyroid, ovaries, kidneys, spleen, liver, like that. And kodo is going into the bone marrow itself. So, the immunity systems, the the blood production, bone marrow. So, your blood cancer related all diseases can be mitigated by using kodo millet. So, based on that logic, we have got list of diseased conditions and then list of the food that you need to eat in that particular order. We call it a protocol. Please, yeah, here.
We can just enlarge it one.
Yeah.
It's
Yeah,
available on the
everything is
website.
available free.
This question is, there is no difficulty in getting convinced what you are saying. We are fully with you. Only thing is availability of these things are the biggest thing.
Yeah, we will have to work towards that because in South, when I started, almost there was nothing. There was nothing. So the first thing I used to tell in my lectures is, go and ask that shop fellow, give kutki for 21 days. And 22nd day he will bring it.
What is the meaning of that?
No, he will figure out a way, bring it. Whatever he brings, he may bring something else and say it's kutki. That can happen in the big cities. No wonder it happens. But then you keep asking and say, this is not right, this is not working. Then he will figure out. So in fact, that's how we started. And while doing that, we went back to villages and gave them the seeds and asked them to grow. And all that work in tandem we did. And now the whole 4 states are producing, and in large quantities. In Karnataka, in fact, the North Karnataka farmers, all the dry land farmers are now growing and making a lot of money also. Yes, sir. So formally, I am closing my session. We have introduced all the materials that we require for healthy living. So don't take refined oils. They are dangerous for you. This one, so this same, palm jaggery. This is the way it comes.
Sir, you said this very wonderful thing. Now, let's say I have a land close by, 1.5 hours from here, enough to grow food for my own family. And I want to grow these millets for my own consumption and to distribute who are needed. Is that a possibility?
Absolutely. We'll help you, sir. Absolutely. And that's what I want actually everyone to do. Everyone to become farmer so that you understand the importance of these wonderful activities. In fact, we have actually been conducting classes. Yeah. There is the concept called jungle krushi, how we can produce this food in a sustainable fashion for the whole world, not just one world. We can produce this food for 8 planets. And the wonderful environmental friendliness of this grains is so beautiful. 200 liters of water is enough to produce 1 kilo. Whereas this rice, these agriculture scientists claim 4,500 liters, but then we have done the experiment, it comes to 9,000 liters. So even if we agree that it is 4,500 liters, it is 1 kilo is equal to 30 kilos of these grains. That means if you give me that 4,500 liters of water, I will grow 30 kilos of this Siridhanya. And each kilo of this grain, if you soak well and cook rice, 10 people can eat. And this rice, 4 fellows, or wheat, 5 fellows will finish. So that means if you want to produce the same amount of food, 30 kilos, that means 300 people's food. Here you are only with 5 people. So now if I produce, you give me 4,500 liters, and if we calculate, if the amount of water you are using for Bihar, production of rice, you give me that, I can produce food enough for India and China together.
So the next question is, after we get it available, okay, then what are the preparations that we make? You are talking
Absolutely.
about
All things done for you. a big book is there, all the materials, how to cook, how to make all kinds of
So this all
payasam.
grains are like rice, or they are like?
They are rice. Actually,
They
they
are
are
rice
the
only.
real rice.
Okay.
Kodo rice. Kodo chawal. It's called kodo chawal. All these 5 grains are rice. So you can make everything that you are making with your
rice.
present white
And what
rice.
about roti?
Roti, wonderfully you can make with these 5 grains.
Okay.
In fact, all these Sikh Gurudwars, they were actually feeding with kodo chawal only. Now your chapatis, your wheat has come.
So
You
there
go
is
back to the history, they were feeding with kodo. So like that in the history you find all these grains hitting you everywhere actually. In fact that Varaha Purana, because it is I am trying to communicate. Adivara, when he got back the Bhumi Tai, the mother earth, he fought for 18 days I believe with the Rakshasa.
Hiranyaksha.
And he was tired and his lungs were like that, he was breathing hard. Then the people asked, what do you want us to feed you, Swami? He said, Priyangu Paisam. Priyangu is your foxtail millet. So the Varaha likes that also. And like that there are lots of quotes or references to these wonderful grains in our, in fact the Rama, Lakshmana, when they went to the forest, the Vana Vasa, first thing the Lakshmana did was to grow Sama and Navani.
And?
Foxtail millet. Little millet and foxtail millet. So all these references are found in our text, but we have forgotten because this white rice and wheat has taken over us, and the sugar is the ultimate culprit. So no one should put even a single a speck of sugar, because 1 spoon of sugar can throw you off immunity wise for 6 months. So please avoid sugar for your kids, if not for yourself, because you are all drinking coffee and tea, I know. And it's an addiction, caffeine addiction, nicotine addiction. All these addictions can be, you can easily come out with wonderful kashayams, kadas, parijata, amrutfal, kapatta, kothambri, all these wonderful, and we have done a lot of experiments. We have tabulated that for you and lot of information on this wonderful natural resources, and it is an ecological model that we are talking about. The food production, the consumption, we respect the nature. We don't damage the nature to produce our food. But now the economic model, we are not damaging, we are disseminating and totally annihilating the nature just to make food for us. So these distinctions one should clearly note. So both ecologically, economically, in all the dimensions, the human race has no other choice other than choosing Siridhanya as their basic staple food in the future generations to come. So it is our duty to pass on this information, and I have started this journey and brought them back, and I am not saying this is the complete research is done, but I think I have touched most of the aspects of this food and food habits, and it is left for the future generations to walk in that direction and develop sustainable and healthy food habits and food systems in nature. So local foods, seasonal foods are the real healthy way of eating, which doesn't cause environmental damage. But then present day systems are all driving us to be centralized in every sense, and this centralized functioning is not nature's way of doing things. So we need to get out, at least in our food preparation and health care systems. The health care means you need to be healthy, not to be sick and then try to run around these things. So I keep telling, the health is not in the hospitals. If you go to hospitals, you get tablets, not health. That's it. So you want health, go to the nature and the farmers who give you the natural foods. This is a straightforward commitment to the human race to be healthy and happy. Yeah, lot of information is in the blog, sir.
Sir,
Many questions are answered in the blog.
I am still not convinced that these 5 grains which you mentioned, Siridhanya, are the only and the natural grains which our ancestors used to eat, which you never heard in last
You have
30
never heard,
years,
sir.
or many of.
No, you people have not heard. That's all. That is very
And
sorry
you said
to
that it
disagree
has to
with
be,
yours. I want to disagree with that statement first of all, because I am not claiming these are the only 5. There are many more. I have worked with 5. In fact, I have figured out one more which we are working. We are not claiming, because these 5 we have done all the experiments, and there are many more actually, depending upon the localities, various variants of this.
Same thing, because I thought only 5 cannot feed whole world as a local food. It has to be local developed.
The nature of these grains is both, they are local as universal. What I am trying, that's why I tried to tell you so many times that it is Italian millet also. And in the jungles of hills near our Karnataka, they are called Priyanga. You see the point? And in here in Gujarat and not, it is called Kangni, isn't it? Yeah. So Kangni existed long before. So Kangni is there as Kangni here. In Italy it is called Foxtail Millet. You understand? So it is both local as well as universal. And that is the beauty of these 5 grains. American millet, that is brown top, is there in Pavagada as Korle. From we have met the tribals who do not have any contact, even they are eating now, they grow it. In fact, we have gone to Arakuloya just 3 months back. I have climbed 4,000 feet, and there they are growing this little.
So they has to be grown locally to become local.
Yeah, exactly. But the seed is universal. It is found almost everywhere.
Same.
Very same. And the name, the botanical name is the same.
Sir, I just want to add also, as part of this journey, we went and met the tribes in National Park. As of now, in the monsoon season, they grow 2 millets for their own consumption. One is foxtail, another one is little. So it's right available in our own tribes, next to Thane. No, sir, it's for their personal consumption.
So
They just have.
You said about milk, that milk is dangerous.
Yes, milk is dangerous.
So, I mean, it's difficult to digest, milk is dangerous. Can you tell me more, the milk, how milk is dangerous?
Because you are loading yourself with all the hormones. It is like telling you have smoke, cigarette smoking, and there is oxygen in it. I don't know whether you are getting my, there is but it is so dangerous, and you are saying, oh, calcium is there in it.
One more last thing. I have heard that
Sir, milk,
few.
mother's milk is food for you, not cow's milk for you. Because cow's milk is produced in nature. The cow is producing milk to feed its baby, not your baby. And the growth factors, the regulator, the hormone content is completely different, because the calf grows in 6 months, this much, the bone grows. Does your baby's natural growth is that much?
So even if desi cow milk of India also is bad.
Desi cow also is not right for your baby.
For us also?
Oh, everyone. And you drink, your hormone imbalance comes, and your sperm count goes away, and your testosterone is screwed up, and then your bone density will go up. If go down if your testosterone level. So you are screwing up your hormone balance.
Last question, sir.
Yes.
I have heard that few millets like bajra are organic always because they don't require any fertilizer and pesticides.
Yeah, not only bajra, all the 10 millets. We are lucky we have 10 millets left. The seed germ is still there. And after I have come back, this brown top and kodo, we all have brought them back. So, and actually I just have got one more millet in my hand. I have to do lot more work because you have to have 5 to 6 generations and figure out that we are getting the same germ seed. It's a different kind of work. It takes lot of time. As an agriculture, you need to do lot of, I'm coming to that. I'm coming to that. These are called C3 foods. Yeah, this point you have to understand carefully. When glucose is made in a plant, you build from pyruvic acid in wheat and rice. So that Krebs cycle, you have pyruvic acid is C3. It is called C3. So you make oxaloacetic acid and then build the fifth and then make the glucose. So these are called C3 foods. In this physiological domain, what happens from C3 to C4, going from C3 to C4, you need a lot of water. And these grains are called C4 foods.
Which ones?
All these millets. So what they have done is, they have crossed over that C3 to C4 and they already make oxaloacetic without water requirement. So now what it all has to do is build glucose from C4. You see the point? So that's why if you want to increase the yield of rice and wheat, if you give more water, you increase the yield. But you cannot do the same with these grains. You give any amount of water, it doesn't increase the grain. Because when the glucose is being formed, when the tene, that pinnacle, the kanki we call, when it is being formed, water is not involved at all. So when you give water, then you can put fertilizers, because the fertilizers have to be soluble in water. So when there is lot of rain, you throw these fertilizers. So when you have fertilizers, the yield increases. That means these are water irrigated requirement is there. Whereas these guys do not require water at all when the food is made, final product is made, C4 foods. So whether you use fertilizers or not, the same yields come. So once the farmers may put fertilizer and find out that whether with or without they are getting the same kind of yields, they will not use it. So hence the statement that you made. By nature, it is been designed that it won't work this way or that way. So you get the same yield, approximately 10 quintals you get per acre. And so that's how they are really organic, in the sense, even if you want to do, it's useless. You can grow them, sir, with just 5 wettings, they will grow. But in the regular natural rainy season, they grow well. I mean, that's natural. And that's why we say, you just have 5 rains, you can make food for everyone. That's it. 5 rains. When it is germinating, and in between one more, and when the pinnacle is made, you need that wetness. That's all. Because the grass has to be live.
Or you irrigate.
That's what, we don't irrigate. We just give a sprinkle. That's enough.
3 crops a year.
Yeah, 3 crops in a year you can, if you have water irrigation, whatever, bore and things, 3 crops you can.
Hello, sir. I just wanted to know, do you have any studies done for cancer treatment?
Absolutely.
Yeah.
15 to 17 kinds of cancers we have been able to help a lot of people. Yeah. No. People keep IBS, HIV, SLE, all those things are listed here. And cancer, separate protocols are given, lung cancer, bone cancer, brain, blood, please go up. Kidney, prostate, breast, mouth cancer, thyroid, pancreatic cancer, stomach cancer, skin cancer. Skin cancer is something which is very difficult to deal with. We have had wonderful results. Yeah, a lot of cancer patients are doing very well and without any. In fact, after radiation, chemotherapy is done, metastasis has occurred. Even such patients are doing very well. And only after observing hundreds of cases we have made this list. Yeah, uterus and ovarian and even cervical, you can add this cervical here,
From,
liver.
sir, from medical point of view, what Mr. Murray is trying is that to effectiveness of this particular treatment and to spread amongst the masses to help them, if we have a pre-medication of Siridhanya and after the Siridhanya, the cure,
Yes.
with a proof like X-ray, if we have that type of study in the hospital
Yeah,
setup,
it is
we
for
can
this-
help our patients better.
Yeah, it is for the present medical world to take up these studies. See, I as an individual practitioner sitting in a corner of a small room as a homeopathy practitioner, I cannot do all that has to be done. But we have had cases after being treated chemotherapy, radiotherapy, and then they have washed their hands, and blood cancer patients are now doing very well. It's been 6 years, 7 years, and in fact, many patients from north, the cancer train is going. Lot of patients have come, and lot of them are doing very well. In fact, some individual cases like a small shop owner, bunk on the highway, he had cancer, he had this gutka, mouth cancer. He got that metastasis into blood, and then they declared that we cannot do anything. They came, and he is from Madhya Pradesh. I have the file also. In fact, he has given the whole file. And the blood hemoglobin used to go away once in 2 weeks. He has to be given transfusion of the blood. And then he came to us, and then he started this protocol, and of course I also treat with a little homeopathic medication, but I personally don't believe it is only to boost their confidence levels. But the real things are this. These 3 are wonderful kashayams for cancerous conditions in human body or anybody for that matter. Parijata leaf, this is called Nyctanthus, and people, our Ashwatha, Krishna's guava leaf, Amrutfal, this is called Amrutfal. Peru, yeah. These kashayams work wonders. In fact, they give the boost immediate. In 6 weeks to 9 weeks, the patients start stabilizing, and then
And what if we drink when there is no disease of kidney or prostate or cancer?
we suggest that once in a while you keep taking these kashayams, and you will never get into cancerous conditions. And actually that is the whole idea. In fact, to prove that you can be healthy by curing all these so-called dreaded conditions. So when we can get you out of these deep pits, and if you are in this food system, you will never ever need any medicine. And that is the whole point we are trying to communicate. And wonderful, it's not actually curing. You will see their system is so different. You see they emanating the health. In fact, they said after going through this, they were not, even when they were so-called doing well, they were not able to walk 2 kilometers. But once they start eating, these guys walk 10 kilometers without any being tired. Then absolutely.
So if I am rightly understood you, this kashayas can be taken once in a week.
One week, one item. Say you take people leave for 1 week.
No, what I am saying is, if I don't have any cancer
understand.
of anything. So normally how much I can take?
Yes.
Once in a week.
No, not once in a week. You take Parijata leaf kashayam for a week.
Okay.
Then people leaf kashayam for a week. So get up in the morning every day for 7 days.
Empty stomach.
That.
And so once in 3 weeks or over, then I
3 weeks you take another set of kashayams like ginger kashayam, turmeric kashayam.
variety of kashayas.
Yeah. We have got around
Detoxification.
50, we have got around 50 to 60 green leaves that are available normally in common places. And we have figured out what they do with our body and what dimension they help us. Like tulsi kashayam, garke. Garke is that Vinayak Chavati you use. That grass.
Durvas.
Durva.
Durvas. That is a wonderful thing for immunity boosting. And we have figured out like that, everything is listed, 7 kashayams. Yeah, this is that. Bermuda grass,
That one.
Persimmon,
That Durva is here.
Tinospora, again, Bilwa. Bilwa is another
Bail.
sacred, yeah. Pongemia pinnata. And this kashayam works wonders for drug addicts, alcohol addicts, caffeine addicts, gutka addicts. All of them can come out in a matter of 6 months without any problems. So, neem, Azadiricta indica, and then people, the Ficus religiosa. And in fact, Ficus religiosa is wonderful for women. The hormone imbalance is very easily taken care of with the sour spinach, gongura we call. Gongura na pickles, amdi, yeah. These wonderful kashayams we have got. All that is listed, and the details of which are completely recorded. I mean, lot of information about the leaves, as well as what they can do and where and what protocol they fit in. Everything is listed. Very systematically it is presented in the Siri.
So again, I want to tell you the same thing. Availability.
Yeah, the availability part,
Biggest thing.
we all have to work together. I mean,
Sir, probably I'll
we
cover
are here
that.
to give you the seeds, and then we need to go back to the villages
People,
and then,
Amrut Phal, everything is available. We
Yes.
have in our garden also. But other things. Which
yeah,
are
we need to inspire the farmers. And how do you inspire the farmers?
money.
So when they grow, we need to pay them
Buy.
and pay respect. I mean, you have to give some respectable money. But we are willing to pay for pizza 900 rupees. But then when we say brown top millet is 100 rupees, 100 rupees we have to pay. So all these things have to be worked out. And once you people start recommending, especially doctors start recommending, then the value is added. So it is your job to make the farmers grow. So when the doctor says the patient eat this, then he will go and buy. And once he starts buying, the farmer starts growing. And that's what has happened, sir, in the last 20 years. I have been doing this. I have gone to more than 2,000 villages in the last 20 years. All Sundays and Mondays I have been traveling, going to villages, talking to farmers, telling them that this is good for you, you grow, and there are people to buy, and then making arrangements to buy the thing and then make the rice, and then go to the shops and tell them this is good for you, and conduct awareness classes in the cities. I have done around 100 classes in Bangalore, 100 classes in Hyderabad and various parts of Andhra and Telangana. I have been doing this for the last 20 years, and I am actually very happy to say that lot of awareness has come, and people, in fact in Bangalore and Hyderabad we have restaurants serving only Siridhanya idli, Siridhanya
You have the
dosa.
address of restaurants?
Yeah, address of restaurant. In Mysore there is what is called dhatu. Sir? Sir? Allergies, yes. There is in the protocol, sir. Yeah. Honey, sir, there are no honeybees in the world now. Honey is also natural sweetener, but it is not available. Whatever honey you are getting in the market is all completely adulterated. There is no real honey, because only 8% of honeybees are left when compared to 1950 now. So how do you expect? But the honey market is much more than what it was before. Just simple calculations tell you that it is not honey. Absolutely. If you have direct contact and then you are harvesting the honey, please, it's good, you can have it. Maximum is 2 to 3 spoons of it per day if you are getting, but you should not also take honey on a daily basis. It's not good also.
Can't be heated also.
Yes, you
Honey
should
should
not
not be
heat
heated.
honey. And many people, I don't know where from this thing has come, you put honey daily in hot water and drink, you will lose your weight. I don't know where from this.
Dangerous.
Very dangerous. But I can tell you, the moment someone tells you, daily you take this, that means there is some company behind. That's the first thing you need to understand. Because nothing should go into human's body on a daily basis other than water. That's why we have change. You change even Siridhanya. Don't eat the same thing again and again. Please have rotation. 5 grains. You eat 2 days once. Keep changing. Kashayams once a week. Don't go beyond that. If there is too much trouble, then you may extend the kashayam for 21 days. Maximum. So, the same material keeps going into the body. Your body doesn't recognize this as medicine anymore. So, these are all the principles that you need to follow. Very simple things. So, if someone comes and tells, drink this daily, it's good for you. Then lot of Ayurveda bottles people are saying, take daily, it's good for you. Nonsense. Nonsense it is. Simple, sheer nonsense. Yeah, kashayam is defined as fresh leaf. But yeah, what you can do actually, bring the thing and put it in a bottle of water, or it can stay as fresh for 3 to 4 days. But beyond that, I suggest, instead of growing all these unnecessary things, of course they are good, but you can grow your kashayam plants in your home or on the rooftop, or almost all this, including people tree, you can put it in a pot. Yeah, not bonsai. Yeah, just regular people sapling you keep till it grows 5 feet, 7 feet. You can keep harvesting the leaves, and then once it grows 5 feet, take it and go and plant somewhere, and again bring some small sapling, and you can, like that parijata, all these plants can be in your home. That's what I have done. All around my house, I have 50 kinds of kashayams. So I get up, this week this week that. So I have not spent any money in my life for coffee or tea or kashayam. And I am very happy.
And what about
each one has actually spent a lot of money for coffee and tea. And that is what is killing you. And that is also killing our planet. All the rivers are drying up because you guys are all drinking coffee and tea. So how many number of plants you can plant? Unless you stop drinking coffee and tea, your rivers cannot come back.
requirements for the day like
protein, this is a big myth, scientific myth. You need a lot of protein, you eat soybean, you eat this, you eat that. You only need 5 to 6% of protein in your food, and that is available in all our grains. And another beauty of this protein is it is released slowly and steadily, because you have to get out of this fiber. All these things are, that is the beauty of these 5 grains. Because of that ratio, everything gets released in a regulated fashion. And this has, you have stopped at protein and carbohydrate and fiber. What about this? Niacin, riboflavin, thiamine, carotene, all very well loaded. If you have these 5 grains, you get everything. And you see, pearl millet has wonderful amount of carotene. So like that, if you are in these 10 grains, rotating yourself, you get everything fulfilled. And many people think eating fruits and eating vegetables and eating greens, you will get all these vitamins. Absolute nonsense. Because to get enough amount of vitamins and all from your vegetables and greens, you need to eat almost 8 kilos to 18 kilos of it. Because greens and vegetables are completely loaded with water, 95 to 98% of water. So, you eat greens and vegetables for providing you the prebiotic condition, so that various kinds of microbes fill your tummy, gut. So, these are prebiotic food to give you probiotic condition in your body. That's how you eat and why you eat vegetables and greens, not for fulfilling your nutritional values. The nutritional values are fulfilled exactly with the real food, and this is the food. And all these nutritional things are taught to us by these so-called Westerners, and we keep parroting this, not thinking about in the real science. So the food, you need to understand it in its true sense. What is what and what is not. Any more questions? What time is it?
It's 5:10, sir.
Okay. Oh, we still have 20 minutes. I have to catch my flight, so.
How do you manage all these things while living your own life?
This is my life. So there is no management. I am out of this kind of stuff, sir. I have no management. I just live. I don't work.
The question.
Which one? Yeah, every day. No problems. Yeah, this. Every day. You drink water, you drink copper touched water. And that is.
No, so you can keep this, but no, it's we don't have sales. So.
Yeah, copper vessels cleaning is difficult. It's a big, huge andas.
So
You need to. This plate, it's very simple. Yeah, copper flask when you are traveling, but to clean the water, the bottle is tough. And as I showed you the copper plate, this is the easiest. You can clean, even if you are in a hotel, you can find lemon and just clean it. You need to clean regular. That is very important. Yeah.
Some people say we have to drink a lot of water. Some people say don't drink water. It is harmful to kidney. What to do? It's a confused.
You need to go one step behind. You need to create the potential for water. That means you have to work. So if you walk and work, the regulation of water, how much water goes in, it itself takes care of. So approximately if you walk around 1.5 hours on a daily basis, everyone will drink without effort around 2 to 2.5 liters of water. So that is not the condition. The condition is you walk that much time so that you can drink water without any effort. So get up in the morning, drink warm water, drink 2 liters, then before food, all that is not really serious. So if you walk, then to drink is the important word. To drink, your body should be primed to drink. So don't force. It should be natural. There should be potential. That means you have to sweat. Then your body is asking water. Then you drink. So you don't want to drink water and then you are forced to drink 2 liters. Then you are going to be in trouble. If not now, later. So it is the condition, and that is the natural way. And earlier it was not a problem because everyone used to walk minimum of 18 kilometers. But we are not walking now 0.18 kilometers also. So that's why I keep telling people, just eating Siridhanya is not complete way of, there is a lifestyle adjustments we have to make. So please get up in the morning, see the sun, walk for 1.5 hours. These are all, and if time allows, please pray God for 10-15 minutes, watch your breath and do some dhyana. These are all very important things. You got to thank the Krishna, the things that everything has come from. Whether you call it Allah or whether you call it hardly matters. You go to Brazil, there are tribals, they call tung tung tung, their God, It's okay. Doesn't matter. So please do thank, pray God at least once a day. But then once you start doing that, in fact, you pray God 24 hours. Without your knowledge, each and every breath you can remember God. And that's the condition to which you need to rise. And for that only you need the sattvic food. And these are 5 wonderful grains. The most best sattvic foods on this planet is these 5 foods. And wheat and rice are tamas foods. Coffee and tea, further tamas. So please avoid these foods if you want to actually the adhyatma or spiritual world. And the spiritual world doesn't exist by itself. It is embedded on the material world only. So without the right materials, you cannot have spiritual world. They are connected. So the body is there to reach the domain of spirituality. If without body, you are not going to do anything. So keep the body. This is our temple. So keep it safe, sound, healthy and clean. And to keep it clean, you need to do the clean things. That's as simple as that. So there is a different dimension to all that I have spoken, and even in that dimension, the least damaging to nature, to all the living things on this planet, is wonderful materials. And we have shown how to grow without disturbing the ecology. In fact, we have built systems where almost 1,000 kinds of living things are living in my 7 acres land. Lots of birds, peacocks, in fact leopards come, even bear comes, and lot of rabbits, lot of snakes. It's wonderful world. You can come and enjoy the place. We have built it from a barren land. So forests, the living things, and we are all part of all this, and that is the food that you want to partake, and that's how you need to have your food. It is with respect and love and devotion we need to live to the natural world, and we are part of it, but we are behaving as if we do not belong to nature. I mean, that is the sad thing. The real problem is that. Thank you very much. Yeah, I have spoken. We need to eat local vegetables, local greens, and enough of it. You can eat as much as this, or you can eat just this much. They do serve the purpose, because it is to create the microbes in your tummy. You are eating this. So you don't need to eat this much. Whatever amount you can eat, you eat. But you do eat all kinds of vegetables and all kinds of greens. It is very important. And fruits, if you can get your hands onto the fruits, you eat. And fruits are not your food, basically. If the fruit falls from the tree, and that is yours. Don't pluck the fruit from the tree. So that's the way I look at fruits. When you are there, if it falls, then you take it. Don't pluck the fruits. Actually, the fruit that is falling is the real thing. That's what is, it is giving. It is giving. It is giving to the life forms of other living things. You can partake that. Don't pluck, because it's not yet ready.
So traditionally we have been using different metals for storing water, and they definitely have antimicrobial properties, like silver or like copper vessels we use for storing water and drinking. Nowadays we get those copper bottles also, and they definitely have antimicrobial properties in them.
Antiviral also.
Yeah, but my question is, the water will be safe to drink, but when it goes in our body, is it not destroying the beneficial microflora from our body?
No, absolutely not.
So how
Only
does
the
that
copper
work?
plate destroys,
Okay.
not the water that is structured by copper plate. It doesn't carry the electrons to it. It is only being structured by the moving electrons of the copper plate, and silver doesn't do the job. Silver doesn't do the job, because the 4D and that breadth electron band energy is not the hydrogen bonding energy levels. Only copper, the 3D 4S, that only does the job.
Yeah, thank you. And second question is about Dikshit diet. So there is a lot.
Which one?
Dikshit diet, if you have heard about it. Dikshit, Dr. Dikshit.
I am not aware of it.
Okay, fine.
That is, you eat less and this.
Yeah, it's only like eating 2 times a day.
Yeah, but then you should know what you are eating. You cannot eat rice and wheat 2 times. Still you will have problems.
Okay.
But we are also telling that if you start eating these grains, it will regulate and you will eat only twice.
Thank you. Yeah.
You don't need to have any effort. You eat well in the morning, you don't want to be eating anything anymore for till the evening. That happens by itself. It happens by itself. And that's why we call this as sattvic foods. Once you eat, you are happy, you are calm. And Khadar millet, if you have mental disorders, it calms you down very easily. So all these things have worked out and we have all the tables. So all these 5 grains are wonderful. To lose weight, Khadar millet, 3 days a week, remaining each one. Within 6 months, you will lose all the weight in a very healthy manner. In fact, I have had cases of from America, from New Zealand, the people who were weighing 180 kilos, 228 kilos, one girl, 6 months, she is 80 kilos. 6 months. And now she climbs Chamundi, come down. Oh yes, absolutely. We have the protocol. Yeah. Thank you. Thank you.
Thanks a lot, sir.
Lot of grateful heart. In one sense, this, if we practice this thing, it can be a life-changing experience for all of us. And the testament is that many satisfied practitioners are seen around. So in Gujarati there is a saying that Pehlu Sukh te jate narya, means the first pleasure, the greatest wealth is a good health. So Dr. Valli has taught us today how we can, go towards that direction. We are deeply grateful, Dr. Valli, and we would like to just tell you that as such you must be knowing that in ISKCON we follow 4 regulative principles. No meat eating, no onion garlic, no smoking, no alcohol, and no illicit sex, and no tea coffee. So being in Bhaktivedanta hospital, in our hospital we do not serve tea or coffee, but we serve them purely herbal tea, no non-veg, no onion, no garlic. And in above that, whatever food is being served in all our patients, that is offered to the Lord, and sanctified food we try and give as a prasad. Prasad. Yeah. So today is just a beginning. I say this program is not ended. Our association is now going to begin. And out of gratitude, we would like to offer you a small gift of token. Thank you. Thank you very much.
Sir, there is also a saying, you can't take the horse to the pond to drink water, but you can make the horse run faster so that it creates thirst. So the example of the water that you were telling, that if we walk more, automatically we need... thank you.